Alright, guys. I'm Patrick Farley, the director of Fatal Encounter, and I'm sitting with my assistant director.
Hi, I'm Blake, and we're going to sit here and watch Fatal Encounter, the first one.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've actually watched this whole thing. I actually haven't done commentaries on many of my own films. I did Battle Against Faye, and that was about it. And now this space intro I got off of a guy on Video Hive, and he's not gonna list the name, but I just want something epic and space-wise because I wanted to give it like a really epic intro to catch people's attention. Now I'm looking back at it, it's kind of long. And at this time I didn't have my company yet, so when I had a Farley production,
Had to go with what you had.
Yeah, pretty much.
About to say, I don't think we even reference space. It's nice.
It's very nice. It just kind of builds to the atmosphere that I was going for, without it being a sci-fi.
This would have been great if we had done a sci-fi.
Right? Hey, here's the best part. I can buy it again.
You should have jumped the shark and just had aliens.
Right?
For no reasonable reason.
That'd be good for like another movie. And this was before I had my license too, so
It's not a bad idea for an action comedy.
yeah.
And then suddenly, aliens.
So Allison did help out a lot with the story on the first one because it was all over the place, and I just need someone with a lot of script writing experience that just kind of tells me like it is, so I can rewrite it to make it better.
Nice metallic effect.
It actually was a beveled effect in the editor, and I took the bevel off of it, so it left it more like metallic. Because to me, it just looked better. Now, this shot in particular was pretty high up near my college campus, and I just kind of liked the overlook of how everything was looking there.
Not only did they use their martial arts skills in any way in which they desired to kill innocent civilians.
Johnny and Brian.
Yeah, a couple friends that, well,
And your sister.
they're not coming back for future projects, just to I'll let you guys down now. If you ever wondered where my home video started, the reason why I wanted to kind of make this one like a continuation of these high school and early college film I did with my home video cameras was because I wanted to like, kind of give them something to go off of, some sort of background, kind of how it tie into the beginning. So if anyone ever wanted to go back and watch it, like, oh, where did he start? Where is this all coming from? You can go back if you're dedicated enough to watch it. Otherwise, you just kind of get a good, quick backstory introduction, and then you're like, okay, and then you kind of get thrown into the movie after that.
Watching those flashback scenes, I'm always really impressed how Johnny moved.
Oh man, Johnny used to move very well. He used to actually be a better martial artist than I was at the time. And I actually learned quite a few little tricks that really upped my game in the martial arts community because of it. Now, fun fact, the building I was walking by, since we shot this in Reno, Nevada, that building's completely gone. They demolished that, like I think a year or two ago, since the time of this recording. I just like my pan shots.
Boy, that is some crunchy sand.
I know, I'm surprised the mic picked up on it so well.
The mic seems to have picked up on a lot of things.
I recorded this with like that Rode shotgun mic. And
You've changed cameras like 4 times since then, haven't you? Like you have a whole new
3
set of
or
equipment
4,
now.
Yeah. Every time I do a major film, I upgrade the camera. So we recorded this with like a Canon camera, the Vixia HFG 30.
Because clearly by the way you're dressed, you're looking for trouble. Shady looking bastard.
And at the time, I was pretty impressed with my lines of dialogue.
I was raised by my mother.
And by the way, this is all voiceover, but I'm pretty sure everyone can notice. It was just so windy, like, imagine blowing into a microphone. you can't hear anything. So voicing over this was better, but the voiceovers was with my potato USB microphone 5 years ago. So there's only so much you can do there, and I just kind of went out there and recorded just the wind, and I put it underneath our recording to kind of hide the fact that I'm using a potato mic, since it looks so windy just in the footage. And I think it hides it pretty well. It still turned out better than I thought it would be.
I'm not super surprised that Mike picked up the wind as well. I mean, once again, those footsteps were so damn loud, the wind had to have been like being in a hurricane.
Oh, it was. It's times like
Especially
this,
if you look at the trees behind you, it must have been going like hell that day.
Oh, yeah. And trying to get my friend Steven to voice over his lines here, oh, that was a nightmare. But we made it.
Could he not remember what he was saying?
No, it's just saying it exactly how he did it the first time was the nightmare.
Oh, yeah, it's hard to remember what you're doing.
We spent a whole day of him being here in Nevada just doing voiceover lines. And this scene itself took us like an hour or two. Because I had it match up with his lips, which made it hard.
Yeah, I could see that.
This is one of my favorite shots, by the way. That's why I made it into the trailer. My wife says it makes my eyes really green because all the greenery up there.
You turned your back on a guy you don't know with a ski mask on at less than 2 feet.
Well, to be fair, at this point, they're trying to recruit
I
Phoenix. It's not until after this where he never turns his back.
I'm not talking
again.
about in the stabby kind of way, just creepy. He's breathing on your neck.
Yeah.
Because you had so much potential.
And I'm really happy with the composer. Like, just, the music's so spot on with everything. Walperian Music knows how to choreograph action music. Be prepared for a lot of long shots, by the way. I was really obsessed with them during this time. And when it came to making this film, I only had so much help I can get. So it's just, hey, I got a friend that can use a camera. I actually did spit on him there. I was aiming for the sidewalk, but the wind blew it on him. Oh, that was fun.
I love that you are your own extras.
Yep. Low budget, baby.
I like how a lot of the decor here is very evil looking, except for this lamp.
I didn't think about the lamp.
Everything's dark, 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 white lamp with a shade.
The times. I got all that stuff at Spirit, too. Back when they actually made some good quality props. Now everything's like plastic and cheap. Fun fact. This was our first day of filming the movie. The
Out
very
of
first.
order, baby.
That's how I get it done. See, if we brought the camera closer, we wouldn't have that echo, which I didn't learn until after we shot this, obviously.
Well, it's a big house.
Oh, yeah. And this is actually my home. I live there. You're looking at my kitchen. And it's a nice kitchen. We got a new fridge and oven since then. It's kind of interesting seeing how they look now, at least 5 years ago. Now, I made Rich more the comedic character in the first Fatal Encounter because I need some sort of comedic breakup. But as the Fatal Encounter movies are going to progress, as you guys watch later on, he becomes darker and darker, just as Fennec does as the movies progress. And you can kind of see these characters molding in a very interesting way, which you're going to have to watch to find out.
Well, I recall I wasn't supposed to be more than just kind of a small part here.
Yeah, actually, I had like 3 characters that were supposed to be on the protagonist side, and I got a phone call. Oh, yeah, I can't help you. Okay, I'll write that character out. Oh, got a message on Facebook. Oh, sorry, I can't help you. Gonna have to write that character out. Hey, Blake, you be interested in doing more filming?
Sure.
Quite frankly, man, maybe it's just better if I show you what I got. Come on, please do.
You guys replaced a lot of stuff between
Yeah.
when we originally did this and
My
now.
house does not even look remotely this close anymore. Just like the layout, a lot of the stuff's changed since then.
Now, we had to reshoot this a lot because Patrick has difficulty with keeping a straight face, and he is about only 2 feet from the camera.
And the funny part is there's only 3 people in the room. Only one person's behind the camera.
No, we didn't have someone behind the camera. We had a
had
tripod.
Diego.
It was Diego? I thought we were on a tripod that time because it's right against the wall.
Yeah, but Diego was standing behind it the whole time.
A group of individuals which are unknown right now
You
No.
sure? Because we wouldn't. None of those shots move.
have been
Mm-hmm.
reported.
Why would we have had a live person to just stand perfectly still?
I just needed a camera guy to make sure the shot was framed, I
I
guess.
still don't think he was there. I think
The
we
shots
were
in your
using-
apartment were without a camera guy.
I think those were too.
It's just this one here we had Diego.
Because I don't think I met Diego till later.
Exactly is going
I was here. That was the first time you met him.
with the police right now. But we do have live footage, so go ahead and
Oh yeah, I did like the scenes on the green screen she was talking earlier, like on a green screen, and I went to Reno and I actually filmed just the alleyway. Then I had our friend Matrix green screen me in. Mick did those building explosion effects, in which he's highly active in the next Fatal Encounter movie. So he helped me finish up quite a few of the effects in this one. And he's working on his own production company, Grey Dog Freelance Production. But anyways, yeah, can actually film a ski mask with a knife stabbing towards the ground in the middle of the city during the daytime. Bad idea. So green screen it.
His agenda is very similar to Nurgle. That alone makes him a dangerous.
That's one of my favorite scenes.
You've got to do something, Patreck, or this is going to turn into another martial arts massacre.
And what makes you think I stand a chance?
What makes you think you don't?
I was trying not to smile here because you
This
actually
was the
never
scene
yell
we
at
had
me.
to reshoot a couple of times because you
Yeah.
kept cracking up.
I'm buying the
You're
inside of
right
my
there.
lip.
You're biting your tongue.
Because, fun fact, Blake and I have had a couple disagreements over the years, but very
never with-
rarely. And
Never with raised voices, though.
and never with yelling, correct. So, when we were doing this, even back in 2015, it was hard not to smile, because I'm not used to being yelled at by Blake. It's not like your mom yelling at you for not picking up your clothes or something.
It was fucking cold that night.
Yeah, I don't even have that sweater anymore. Got holes. Toss it.
Okay. Nope. Big light.
Oh, think about it. That's a sweater my ex got me.
Yeah, I see that.
Every time I date a girl, they tend to buy me a sweater. I guess it's just a thing.
Yeah, so they can steal it back.
Alright.
Oh, probably.
I'll call you when I'm done. Alright.
Fun fact, we filmed this about 8 months since we even began filming this first Fatal Encounter movie. And there's Blake as another extra. We play our own extras. It saves a lot of time and money.
Yeah, we were the only three out there that night.
I thought we had a camera guy. Oh, I was holding the
I was
camera.
about to say we kept. Oh, there's that.
This is the worst one, but post-production was such a headache that there were a couple scenes I didn't bother voiceovering. This was one of them.
Zach's notoriously difficult to get a hold of for reshoot, so. Wasn't that from a light?
Yeah, it was the hiss, just because we stood under it, but when you're like in front of it here for this scene, you don't hear it at all. And there was a choreography mistake here. I'll point it out when it happens. So all this is really good. This is good. I like this part here, right there. He should have just stuck his knife out and stabbed me. But since he was already staggering, I guess it makes sense for him to go off to the side. But when I look at it again, I'm like, I'll make sure I never choreograph a fight like that again. That's just that end part. Because why don't they just take their knife and stab you while you're in the air? You can't go
He
anywhere
probably
else.
wasn't expecting you to fight back so well, because he wasn't supposed to be a good fighter. He's supposed to be a psychopath.
True. I guess in terms of the story, it makes sense. I was just thinking of choreography going, oh.
Because this
That's
is
a
early
mistake.
enough in the story that they didn't have really, really good soldiers through one means or another. I'm not sure if... I wanted to say something else, but I'm not sure if that's a spoiler.
Yeah, in the second one, they are far more equipped. In the third will be even more than that. And this is like the last time I ever used these masks in any sort of my productions. Because I was kind of obsessed with them. In this audio clip, he's looking at the red mask, so he's hearing the voice of the red mask guy in his head.
I feel if we had done
Same
this
with the
shot nowadays, you should have intercut
Oh, yeah.
some actual visuals too, because it's very jarring when that first yell starts. And it takes a minute for it to sink in why.
There is no intercut for the gold one, though. So that kind of happened in between films that no one ever gets to see. That's why you wonder about it. Now, I did do a crossfade cut here, just because it leaves spoilers when I leave the whole scene active. And because the finale of the second film takes place in the same garage. Yeah, it was very hard to blur that. But, so, the reason why most of the scene was cut... Yeah, I know, it's hard.
Very nice.
He's trying to play a fake, like trying to play
my
the same character.
God.
It makes more sense when you see the whole scene, which I took out. But there's a couple items in this garage that didn't change over the years. So when I went to film the finale, we didn't block it off good enough. So if you left them in, you can tell it's the same garage in both movies. And that's a pretty big plot hole in my opinion. So it's just better off to just kind of cut most of that fight scene out.
I don't expect you to understand how
But I couldn't cut the whole scene because then the one after this makes no sense at all.
This must have been kind of annoying to have to leave the right length of pause in there and then get the voiceover correct later.
Actually not really. I literally had him on the phone and I just dropped the audio.
Okay.
And so he was on the phone in the other room, and then I just took this clip and I voiced over this part. And I recorded that with my phone, and I took that and put it on speaker and put it up against my USB microphone. Then I took that clip and put it back in the movie.
Oh, so it was basically what I said. It's a pain in the ass.
Oh, it was a really long process. Now I know I can just go into my editor and fluctuate the audio in Audacity, and I can get my phone effect that way. But at the time, I had no idea how to do that, so I went through a really painstakingly process.
Also a good echo in that garage.
By the way, I do yell a lot in this film, because I want to portray anger, and I didn't really know how to do that well during this time, so I just figured getting really, really angry and yelling was how to do it. You know, because actors, you know, gotta overreact sometimes. No. Depends on the context of the scene, but I was trying really hard to act.
I thought you were ugly before.
I did wish I had some establishing shots in between, like just the outside of the apartment complex, then we cut in, so just cutting directly in. But, it is what it is.
Killed the fucker, but
I just killed a guy.
I'll start going.
You're sitting there playing with
Bad.
Legos right before you showed up.
I don't suppose he was stupid enough to give his name.
If only.
God, I wish he did.
And your furniture in your house has changed a lot since then, too. You don't even have those couches anymore.
No, the one you're lying on is the one that's over by the kitchen table.
Oh, that's right.
I threw the one that I'm sitting on out. Because we actually broke the spine on that so bad that the spring started punching through the wall behind it.
Ooh.
I got those couches when my grandmother died, and almost most of the furniture in the apartment at the time was hers.
Gotcha.
On the planet right now.
We don't have the table. Well, actually, this is the table that's sitting out in the hall with no legs on it.
Oh, okay. That's why I got rid of that table. So, funny thing is that when you're shooting on such a low budget, you just gotta take your friends' houses and just anything you can get. So I knew Blake would let me film in his apartment, so I wrote apartment scenes into his script. And we kind of go back to this apartment quite a bit, because it's kind of like their home base, because I don't use Fennec's house anymore since the first scene.
It was really easy to shoot in my house as opposed to yours.
Yeah, mine had to work around my entire family schedule, and at this time it was very, very difficult, because everybody was living there. Now it's not so hard, because it's just my parents and I, but not in 2015.
My girlfriend was usually sitting off camera doing homework.
Yeah.
Well,
You know what? I still have that laptop.
You do, surprisingly.
I don't use it anymore, but I do still have it.
Could be a movie prop.
Help me kill some aliens.
I do still have those controllers.
How to be generic. Couldn't say an actual game because copyright. Aliens, could be anything, you know. For this commentary, since it's only really going up on YouTube, I'm not really concerned about what we say.
The only reason we have that lamp is just for lighting. That's the only reason we bought it.
Oh yeah.
Or no,
I
that's
know.
not the one we bought. I think no, that is the one we bought.
That's one of them. You bought that one just for this because I didn't really have anything.
Well, I'm
other
not
than
sure if we
LED
bought it for this
lights.
because we got the idea for it because Katie had a lamp. That was really good for this. I think that might be her lamp, and then later we bought.
Oh yeah.
Because we're like, we need more light in here. She's like, well, I got that reading lamp, so I think we went and grabbed that, and we used it because you didn't have all your light props at the time.
Oh no, I didn't have any light props. I had like 2 LED lights I bought just for the green screen, and oh god, they're terrible. They don't even light the damn green screen.
Now, in this scene, I think this was that night, Steven had a rather rough day, and he showed up a couple of shots in.
He did have one too many. He was drinking with my sister like just 3 or 4 hours before we came here, and he was doing okay, but then it like hit him in the middle of this filming.
Like, he started out okay, but yeah, it got he got drunker as we were filming. You know, like, it really started to settle into his system as we were there.
And he was the only friend that would actually play the role of this character because no one else wanted to do it. So Steven was literally the only person I can get for this movie.
He did pretty good.
I had too many long shots, so that's my fault, not his, for trying to remember so many lines back to back. Oh god, those generic stock sound effects.
That's
The
all you
explosion
had at
sound
the
effects
time.
are terrible in this film, but you know, it's
Hey, they were free.
yeah, you get what you get at the time. So,
You don't seem to understand.
and this is where I had to voice over him.
What could you possibly?
And since I voice over it with the USB mic and not the actual mic
Sounds
from the
different.
camera, it sounds drastically different. And by the time I realized the mistake, it's too late to go back and fix it. I kind of just fly him down here to do a voiceover line. It's not worth it. And this movie's chock full of like editing mistakes, so just. So we left it in one shot because he's actually reading off the script, and I'm trying to overreact just because I know I'm the only one who's going to be seen on camera for the rest of this scene. Then we cut pretty short.
I wanted you to leave that goddamn scene out because I looked at the camera for a moment like I'm breaking the fourth wall, like, oh shit.
Oh, I cut it really, really short because it was actually like 5 seconds longer.
Was it?
Yeah, and I cut off the part you told me to leave off the
Mick
first time.
Mick did a good job with those blood effects. Was that him or you?
That was him.
He did a good job.
It has a slight tracking issue, but it's really good once you're like staring
Well,
at frame by
for the
frame.
time,
Yeah, he did this a few years ago. Oh no, like 2 years ago or a year. I did this one, and the one that follows.
the fact that it goes from day to night, you probably should contextualize that a little better.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because it's just rather sudden. All of a sudden it's night and more bombs.
Yeah, well, it's because I didn't have any like sunset filming.
So the
there.
police showed up during the shot. Because there's a lot of houses, and we must have scared
Actually, it
somebody.
was halfway through. We actually got quite a few of these shots filmed, and then they showed up.
Well, you'll notice later in the scene we moved down into the docking bay so people can't see us as much.
Thankfully, we were kind of on our way down there, so it worked out well.
Well, I think we were debating going around, but after the police showed up, we agreed into the docking bay. Made more sense.
Fun fact, this is Zach's first time in front of the camera for the movie.
It's his first time in front of a camera for just about anything, really.
Oh. Well, I know he did theater.
He
No?
wasn't in theater classes.
Oh.
Nope.
And he's the 4th person that we were able to finally get for this character.
And I called him it was a very last minute, Zach, I need you to...
Yeah, I had 3 other guys, and the first guy's like, oh, sorry. Second guy's like, no, sorry. Third guy never contacted me back.
What was a little unfortunate is me and Zach had actually been on relative non-speaking terms when I called him for this. So... I like that I'm gonna stab you and then kicked you down the ramp.
Yeah, because he's actually playful with the knife, so it makes sense to his character.
Well, it was a nice fake out.
And again, this is one of those skeleton crew days where you only have 3 people. There's only Blake, Zach, and I, and there's no one else there. So whoever's not on camera is holding the camera.
Another fun fact is Zach actually improvised just about every single one of his lines in this scene. There was no script for it because he was a last second replacement, and
Yeah, and the original script would make no sense to how Zach would play the character.
Right,
So
and
we
so-
just said, improvise it, dude.
right before each shot, him and I would take a second and knock the line back and forth, and then he would deliver it.
And this is all new. None of this was in the script, this scene here.
Yep, this was shot on the fly too.
The fire over the city, the smoke in the sky.
You can tell because Patrick's not sure who to follow with the camera.
You. Never was you.
I just follow who's talking.
Made it look very organic, I thought.
Yeah. So I kind of knew when there was a pause that the next person would go. And I try to bring it in close.
Well, again,
to you guys did.
we're just talking. There was no practice here. We just knocked it back and forth until there was a fight.
It turned out really well still, I think.
I'm still amazed I only ever broke one pair of glasses filming your movie.
I really like the music here too because it builds a tension between old friends.
But him.
The composer actually has a slight challenge with this one, but he uses the same theme for later on in the movie for this scene right here, and it fits so well between the rivalry here.
I actually came very close to hitting Zach with that.
Yeah, for this shot here, I was actually over the loading bay, like on the top part of the wall. Because I want to get a higher up shot, but at the time, I forgot the tripod, forgot like the little handle that you put the camera on, so I forgot a lot of things, and so I just had to kind of improvise.
Right there, Zach broke his toe.
I was about to say fun fact, but you read my mind. Yeah, and he was a trooper. He finished the scene right here.
He had no idea till he got home and got his shoe off.
There's all that adrenaline going, probably after hitting that wall and everything.
You need to stop letting me do that in shots because the one I did in our last movie looked awful.
You didn't hit your hand the last movie, though, did you?
Well, when I do the punches against the other Steven's chest, they look padded.
Oh, yeah. You were holding back a bit. I use slightly stronger sound effects to kind of hide that fact a little bit with audio. Kind I actually stand up here a little bit. It's just so
we discovered I couldn't pick you up on my own without you kind of getting to your feet on your own. I couldn't deadlift you off the ground. I could pick you up, but not from flat on your back.
Yeah.
My name is Riker.
Now remind me why you're doing the voiceover for Steven.
Because Steven literally couldn't do it. Even though all I asked him to do was read off the lines.
You and the rest
He couldn't remember them.
Yeah.
of the borders.
Like, I had him read off the lines when we were actually filming this, but when I want him to go back and voice over, he goes, well, can't you just read it?
It'd be a damn
I'm like,
shame.
but I want it to be your voice. This is way too much. Because it was actually like half a page or something. So I'm like, okay, fine. I'll just try to fluctuate my voice anyways. We're both Caucasian males, and if I add a little editing, maybe I could make it sound a bit different.
Random crowd. Love it.
Yeah, I got a couple of my college classmates at the time got their friends together, and I wanted to like kind of show this was like on the television screens and how a crowd react to it.
Citizen will get a taste of our new
Don't worry, they all signed waivers, but
Waivers. You act like they're going to get hurt.
well, yeah, one guy's actually in a small action segment later on. I'll point it out later, but
children will help us
so I just got whoever I can get at the time to make some reactions because I wanted a lot of the story to be shown on television screen, so it ties into everything else.
It is a little bit of a shame you can't really get Allison anymore.
Oh, I love Allison dearly. Since between the filming of this and now, she's gotten married, has a couple kids, works in a call center. She has like no time even for herself lately, I feel like.
place in which they
So I try not to ask her for anything these days.
have no choice but to drop bombs on some of your most iconic.
So we had to film that at a park, 'cause that's the only location I can get everyone at. Would have been too hard to try to get all these people downtown to make it look like they were beside a building, and I didn't have the editing knowledge or power to mask around them and add something else behind them. So I just kind of picked the like they were looking at the bathroom wall. They weren't actually like towards the camera for the TV screen, but not actually at a building. There's no building at that park to look at. Now there was another scene in there. That's why it's kind of a harsh cut. Like, okay, well, he's on the couch, and then so I put the date, the time, the date to say it's a different day, because there's a space between worlds scene in there that I deleted. It's in the deleted scenes.
I like how I delivered that line, and that's not what the line was, and you can actually see your genuine disappointment. I want you guys to know he really yelled that "I'm not trying to pick up girls" thing.
You're delving into a real bit of human psyche there.
This was the time where I actually learned where going off script is sometimes okay. It was this movie that taught me that, because if I did go on script, it would have been as equally painful as my final confrontation film. So it's okay to go off script sometimes.
Well, I kept. It's not even a sometimes thing. You had a really hard time getting me to read what was on the script. I love to needle you with improv.
Seems that the Nazis did a lot of experiments involved.
I think in this movie, roughly 50% of my dialogue I was just making.
Oh, most likely.
And I think actually past this movie it got worse. I think in your next one I was making up like 60% of my lines.
But I still fit the same context of what I needed from the movie anyways.
Well, I always read it and I make sure, okay, well there's some relevant detail in here, so I need to remember to say it, but then I just
for the
talk.
next one though, Emergence of Talents, the third movie in this series, Blake actually did a lot of the writing with me for his character.
Yeah, watch,
So,
I still won't read off the script.
you should be a lot closer.
Probably, but I probably still will get there and go, I'm gonna improv. Especially because Mick's really fun when him and I start bouncing off of each other.
Yeah.
Man, they're already there. You're just slaughtering them.
Still have that lamp.
It's like 15 minutes to get there.
I still have that shirt, but I never wear it anymore. I should probably donate it. I just like those nice eagle shirts at the time. See, this is that extra I was talking about. So I took the knife past his ribcage, but it still could have been an accident.
Good impact.
And I use all the extras for bodies, just in a different field, obviously. Because you can get what you can get. I really love the music here, by the way.
Boy, that had some height on it, didn't it?
Hey, you actually took a pretty hard fall there. Thankfully, the grass is nice padding. Hint, if you're trying to do a low-budget action movie, grass scenes are great for padding. Oh, the blurring of this Under Armour logo. I never had such a hard time. I gave myself such a wrist pain I couldn't edit for like a week after this scene, because 2 whole days. Oh no, my wrist was in a lot of pain. Another choreography mistake here. He needed to do some kind of movement, not just stand there for that long.
And drop the
sequence.
knife.
Yeah, that's the only part I don't like about the choreography. Everything else here I think moves pretty fluidly.
Well,
And
being
actually-
that was early in the shot, now you got him warmed up.
Now, his character is supposed to be like a clone of Riker, and I never tell anyone if it's like a twin or a clone, brainwashed twin, or what he really is. I kind of leave it up to pondering. That kick actually hurt my calf really bad.
Well, if you want the sweep to look good.
Yeah, he really kicked my leg out. On that axe kick to a thrust, that double kick, I picked that up from Johnny, by the way, since we brought him up earlier. I've still enjoyed how the choreography turned out here.
It's hard to do a sweep without really sweeping. Not to go slightly, not to plug someone else's stuff, I guess, but Mick has his own project, and during one of the fight scenes, I legitimately swept his leg with the cane I was holding. That was not part of the choreography. You can literally see me take him out at the back of the knee.
Yeah, that was good. Sadly, we're probably going to reshoot that whole scene.
Which is too bad. It was a hell of a fight.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lose to a test subject.
Because I sweep his leg, and he does actually drag me to the ground, which is how we got to the following scene. I thought that all was very good.
And the choreography here gets a little stagnant
Who
again.
lost
but
the shoe?
I did. I'm like, screw it, just finish.
I like that you actually kept it off.
We filmed that last part twice.
Uh-huh.
One close and then one far away, just so I can impose it onto this TV.
But still, good on you for not putting your shoe back on.
Yeah.
And keeping it consistent.
The only man that
Never lost a shoe again since then.
now dead.
Where are you actually?
my boss at the time, I asked him if I could record in his home, because I want like a home base for the villains, and they need to be undercover. So I used his living room. Sally had the AC units behind that red cloth I put up, so I got really hot really fast. And that made all of us cranky.
You guys had a bit of arguing.
Oh yeah, we argued big time about, I think halfway through, and we took like a 40-minute break because I literally flipped out on Steven.
The lamp.
Did you have to?
That also wasn't in the script.
Them or us, and they will not stop until we're dead.
Inspired from a Resident Evil 6 line.
Jeez, I'm gonna have to
I was a huge fan of the game at the time, and still am.
Just to let you know, I left the corpse there, so in case we do like an autopsy on it or something.
Yeah, I can see that. Thank you.
All improv here.
God damn it, Patrick. Hey, whoa, don't get comfortable. They're hurting a bunch of people in North Rocktown right now.
Made up town.
Wait, North Rocktown? Isn't that place abandoned? Why
You
is
can
it?
kind of tell.
I don't know. But
The name sucks. Oh, come on, guys. I tried.
you better hurry. They're hurting people in the buildings right now.
Sounds like a Pokemon thing. Where's Brock? North Rocktown.
I will.
Yeah, when you think about it. No, I do like all the scenery that we chose here.
I just wish we hadn't have been there as long as we were.
Yeah, I actually got a permit to film down here at this graveyard. That was my car in the background. I really enjoy how this shot is, where you're looking through the trees and then you see me walking and you're following. Who was you? You were Diego holding the camera here, and you're just on point, whoever was holding it.
Him and I swapped so many times. I don't
Remember her
recall
shot.
who was doing which one.
Yeah, whoever did that panning shot, great job.
I think that was him.
I wish I got. I have way better cloaks in this one now. This one kind of looks tacky, but
Yeah, low budget. We're standing in a Native American graveyard.
I'm surprised the mic picked up our audio so well with how far back we were standing from the mic.
It was a quiet day.
It really was.
No pun intended. It was dead quiet.
We did have security drive by once, and they were like, "Oh, is this the guy filming today?" Okay, whatever, and he just kept going. So we
They
didn't
watched
actually.
us for a while, and we weren't screwing around at the time. We were taking a break when they drove by, so I think they just didn't. Because I was expecting them to come over.
They were supposed to. I was going to show them our permit, but we call it because we're not messing up anything. Yeah.
Exactly quite the same. They're all the same to me. Hopeless
I wanted to like build a relationship between the protagonist and antagonist in this movie. That's why you see a lot of dialogue scenes with them together. And he
Actually,
says lines like that.
I remember what I was doing. At the time, you used a lot of. I was standing with the with the.
Oh yeah, you were taking behind the scene photos.
Yeah.
You took one of my favorite ones to this day.
The one where you're directing Diego.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was me. Because I was standing there with your other non-video camera. Can't remember what it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, both. So the Canon Vixia, the camcorder that we used to film, and then I gave you the Canon Rebel T1i, a DSLR camera, to take some photos.
Um,
I'm gonna threaten you with my back turning you, by the way.
see, same thing. You turned your back to the guy who could kick you in the.
But I think at this point they have like a level of respect for one another, and that's why they're-
debatable. You just called him a bastard. That's not respect.
Do you think you have what it takes?
And now the wind's starting to pick up here a little bit.
10 minutes in counting.
We were there a long time.
Yeah, I still love this scene though. I think it turned out really well.
Everyone was starting to get really sketchy at this point because some of the graves were really badly marked and no one wanted to step on any of them.
Oh man, I feel like we were gonna get bad juju for the day. And this one I just had to get like really quick permission to film by this warehouse because the warehouse owner was like, "Oh, college students, make it quick and don't touch anything."
This was
Okay.
the end of like a 14-hour day and everybody was exhausted.
Well, I wasn't planning on it to be 14 hours, but
So
Yeah,
everyone's
but-
so tired here.
Blake here. The first extra was Steven. Here's Blake.
Because we're all our own extras.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good to slow down the action here just for a second. And I've only had like one gun class.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's a hell of a recoil for something that's not a 50 cal.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think you'd ever fired a gun before when we filmed this.
Not since I was a kid, so it makes sense that even the character have no idea how the freaking gun really works.
And there was every reason you shouldn't have handed me the camera.
Hey, we wanted to make it quick like that. Nick did the effect for that, which was pretty good.
That needed to be contextualized a little better, too. What's on fire?
Yeah, so since it's so low budget, I was unable to get anybody else to be extras to kind of be inside the building when it got set on fire.
Running out on fire.
So basically, it was trying to make it somewhere.
Oh, here we go with the bridge. I love that shot. Just down the rail trestle of you walking. We had a bit of a problem here that when we reached this railroad bridge, the cameraman would not set foot on it, period.
It's very, very unsafe. The floorboards feel like they can fall under you at any point if you're standing on a thin one.
When we get to the action scene, watch their feet a little bit, and you'll see the boards bend as they begin to fight.
Yeah, this bridge was built like in late 1800s down in Wadsworth, Nevada. And Wadsworth, Nevada was the first Sparks, and then they moved Sparks more up north, I believe. Oh, wait, no, more west. And so, yeah, and so I wanted this bridge because I wanted to have a fight on a bridge for like ever, and this is kind of where I got that.
This is something we were talking about the other day. I kind of almost think we should have had it on the other side, but I can't remember. There was a reason we had you guys move to the other side.
The floorboards were more stable on this side when I did a lot of testing.
Because we had a couple of shots get ruined by cars driving through the background.
Yeah, and that's something I didn't think about until editing.
Here.
Yeah.
What's funny is I wasn't even really supposed to be here, so you kind of lucked out because I'm holding the camera here, and since Diego wouldn't go on the bridge.
Yeah, for one mistake, if you only need someone for part of the day, ask them for part of the day. I had Blake take the whole day off, so I'm like, oh, let's make use of it. I'm like, oh, thank God you were able to...
You completely lucked out that I was...
Oh, I definitely did, because there's no way I was going to be able to get that shot again.
You guys would have had to... We drove there at like 6, 7 in the morning, and if I hadn't have been there, you would have had to... Probably you would have lost the first 3 hours of the day or more as a result of that.
Yeah.
Because we did the bridge first, then we did the graveyard, then we did the warehouse to give you an idea which order that actually happened in the filming day.
Yeah, one of those times where the camera can't pick up and it's supposed to be dark. And this was with my newer camcorder too, because I shot this scene a year later.
It's really dark where you are.
Yeah, you can't even tell where I'm at. I'm just a couple streets down from my house, and there's only one street light there. Should have brought an LED.
Did you have the LEDs at that time?
Just the old ones, but I still had a couple. And I shot that in front of a green screen. That's actually a still image. And I just kind of tracked it to go downward and cut it short.
But sir, I ask you a question.
Kind of want to get the impression he was in the middle of nowhere.
Why do you hate Mr. Fennec so much?
Interesting night for questions, isn't it?
This is all voiceover again, too. Which was way too windy that night. This was actually up at my old college campus. I just liked how the view looked. Liked how it was kind of standing. You kind of see like the city in the background.
That was an interesting stutter.
I don't think the stutter was in the actual clip. It was just a voiceover. It's too long for me to remember now.
It seemed like an audio pop or something.
I see. So that's why I don't just bomb.
It's like night and day between this movie and the next one.
Actually, no.
Because
Well, there was like
all
4 years difference between experience. You got better equipment. We all got more practice.
I did this effect like 3 times just to kind of make it work.
Just wait. I've got a little surprise for Mr. Fennec.
And I think the sound effects I got were actually from people like... Oh, I know. Actually, yeah, roller coaster. I think they recorded it from like a roller coaster. Maybe.
Virgo, if you're watching,
You can hear where it loops.
Yeah.
But once again, free audio.
Actually, I paid for that one.
Did you?
Yeah. Same site, Audio Jungle.
Oh yeah, you bastard! I literally just got off of work.
So, sometimes you just gotta have a late night filming day to get a shot.
There. Zoom down to the left.
And there was another deleted scene in between here and the next one. But
You'll have to put out a director's cut eventually that has like the whole like 2.5 hours.
Trouble finding somewhere to
Actually, it'll only be like 2 hours, so it was only like 15 minutes of deleted scenes. Because the movie was so long, I'm just like, it's too long, and I watched it.
Got you with another one of those jokes.
And that was my poor writing with those jokes. Made that 70s joke reference there, if anyone got it.
I love our banter.
Yeah, I enjoy this kind of banter between the characters now, because it definitely doesn't happen just a couple of films later.
Oh no, it does. It's how those comments you were getting on the early version of your script happened.
Well, different characters have the bantering.
You get the idea.
Yeah.
Banter, banter, banter.
I don't know, but
I still like some banter. You kind of need a little bit of levity in such dark, serious films.
probably ought to get down there.
Well, it wasn't that dark yet.
No, but the ones we're working on seem to be in that direction.
Granted, there's a lot of violence against innocents in this movie, but it's a lot of faceless innocence.
And that's why it's justifiable.
I was so tired when you came in that day.
And this is one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
Same college campus again.
Yep, for my college, I literally just called them up going, hey, can I film in the courtyard like a day before? They're like, okay, hold on. Yeah, be done by 4, please. I'm like, okay. So I just called permission that time. I didn't actually just show up and film. So don't do that on college campuses. Otherwise, security will just tell you to GTFO.
Punish me then.
I basically told Steven, just be a cocky asshole, and I think he plays out pretty well here. And I had Diego as the camera guy. I think it's just us 3 this day. And we filmed a couple shots far away, so I was trying to do like a phone effect in post. It's mediocre, but it works. I was trying to make this a pretty intense scene.
That fall looked painful.
Now that actually literally almost hit me in the face. So me being shocked was legitimately me being shocked he almost hit me in the face. And even Diego got creative with the camera. I really enjoy how he followed well. Now this shot took like 7 times. Basically kick over his leg and knock him over. Do a nice tornado kick.
There was some hard contact on that kick.
Yeah, we had quite a few bruises after this. Something I learned when it came to filming the first Fatal Encounter: don't film all your action stuff in a week and a half. It is a painful process.
2. Oh, here we
And
are.
we're back. To this day, I cannot do a proper pop-up. But at the time, that was as close as I was going to get with, like, out of trampoline. Now, there was a couple of these shots he was so far from my face, so I was actually happy I had someone to intercut to real quick. That still fit the context earlier.
Back away from him, Riker, or I'll put one between your eyes.
Now, I wish I had something to show, like, even you on a green screen laying there, or like a sniper rifle, or like a megaphone of some kind. But low budget, so try to use your imagination to put the scene together for me.
I offered to go sit on a hill with my hunting rifle.
Yeah, I wish I took you up on that offer. Regrets were made.
There was also another scene we shot where I leave with you while I'm holding the rifle, which also would have preceded this, but we ended up not using it.
Yeah. Basically, Blake's character is a distraction, and then Fennec gets away. All you need to know.
Wasn't really a distraction.
I don't know why I cut the audio right here.
See the wind. Had to be
That
that.
was probably the win, yeah.
That wasn't a distraction. I flat out threatened to shoot him.
Hmm. I like this line here.
Do you ever come in here not looking like shit?
This is the time we didn't have a camera guy at all.
There was also no script for this.
Yep. No, I just wanted to film a quick scene in between. I'm like, I have nothing written. Blake, help me. I don't want to give more backstory on the character here. I said this is kind of like my backstory mixed in with his backstory, so it's kind of twisted. He's gonna say it, but basically, if I remember correctly, he goes over like, "Well, I wanted to be like a video game developer, but that's just."
Instead, I decided to stick around and teach people self-defense so they can defend themselves.
Yeah, he feels more of a need there.
You were supposed to have students in this film, but that was a good chunk of the people who didn't show up.
Actually, one of the characters was supposed to be basically like a student character, and the original idea was like he got killed in the finale, and that's why he has that mental snap. But couldn't. Just had a falling out between the father and son who's supposed to help me with the movie. So any student characters just did not happen. So there's a little bit of lost context in this first movie. So we tried getting around it, but the plot was so strictly around that it was quite difficult. But I think we did a pretty okay job of what we had.
Well, we got something.
Are you insane? You want to go see him tonight?
The same night, he just got his ass kicked. He's got balls.
The key, I understand that the key here isn't strength. It's being prepared for it. If he calls your bluff, you're dead.
Hear me out, though. I got a plan, and or something.
And I actually didn't have
Go
a...
fuck yourself.
I didn't have a plan, actually. That's why it cuts. There's me again. I play a good extra.
Where's Christopher?
I also, fun fact, that sheet would keep falling because I had duct tape holding it up. I didn't have push pins because I didn't learn that quite yet. So there's a specific shot where it just kind of falls a little bit, but thankfully the camera is just not really... It's not focused.
I can't believe you didn't...
You can kind of see it in the background falling over here now.
You did slam the fuck out of that door.
I did. I'm glad I didn't break it.
Like, it was convincing, though.
We only have one warehouse left.
Is this voiceovered?
I know that's all about.
It's quiet enough in the house to pick us up good. Watch it.
So it seems our
I
supply
think
is not
this
giving
is
us
You can
shot.
definitely see the duct tape up there.
Yep.
Something silver in this room.
This looks tacky.
So we just.
It is their lair there, and they're hiding, so it's okay to be tacky.
It seems that you have failed.
Oh,
all
yep,
of
there.
us.
It fell over a little more. But then again, who's really going to know, right? Just me, because I've spent so many hours editing this. And actually, that sound effect was one I created, because I didn't have bone-breaking sound effects at the time. Took some frozen celery and just kind of cracked it in front of my USB mic at the time.
Oh, shit. I like how you could just kind of tell that mask glows.
Yes, sir.
Unintentionally, but yeah.
Take a walk.
Because you're standing in his shadow, so you could just sort of see that glow.
And that was also me again for that next extra. What do you mean no one was surprised? Oh, okay.
How many times did they clone you?
We kind of hint at human cloning with Riker's twin clone or whatever earlier on in the movie.
Thought you said you didn't use those masks anymore. I think I see one there.
Yeah, this was the last time I used those masks.
I never
There's the
thought
gold
the
one.
members of FMAO actually survived.
Hmm.
Isn't that a plot hole?
What a pleasure to see you.
The FMAO, the Forbidden Martial Arts Organization from the film prior.
No. That's you, right, under the mask?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
that's revealed very soon.
Right.
It's never been the same. You see, the sacrifice for a greater
Now there were
cause
some ducks in the background when we were filming this that were very obnoxious.
Keyword duck.
Nice as that sounds.
Was it just one duck?
Meh, meh, meh.
Oh my God.
They don't give a shit.
Ducks are assholes. Don't film near them. I'm warning you now.
That taught me everything that I know.
So basically, Fennec is disguised as an old member of this old organization I created up from the last movie, and Riker has a tie to that, which plays a bigger role later on in this movie, of course. But
I am Fennec.
That's kind of why he went into. He
He
was in disguise.
smiled.
Thankfully, he's turned away from the camera a little bit, and then he laughs to kind of hide that fact. So it actually kind of worked out well.
You catch it just for a second where he was super fucking amused. And I think it's because you were smiling at him and he just couldn't help himself.
Yeah. I really enjoy how the lights reflect off the water. And this is just like the closest body of water to my house. Because there's like...
By a lot.
Yeah, the next one's like, what, Pyramid or Tahoe? And they're pretty far out. And there's definitely no light sources up at
You would
Pyramid.
have needed a permit to go to most of those, or very far.
And we had this one street light that worked really well for this scene.
Just right under it.
The funny part was all the pedestrians walking around. So there were quite a few people that would walk and stop and watch us, and they would make some commentary, and then they'd walk past us. Like, what the fuck are these guys doing?
As long as they didn't ruin your,
Oh, no, they didn't. And you know, I even brought my friend Josh on this one to take some photos, and then that was about it. Because I just wanted some behind-the-scene photos, because I was really obsessed with this scene at the time. Because it's like... actually, it was supposed to be the last dialogue scene until I inserted another... some more scenes later on, like the year later.
This new world order, new human race. It could be the only way.
Filming 101.
to make a difference.
Don't have dialogue that lasts this long. This scene actually, I think, is 4 to 5 minutes. And yes, it adds a lot of context and information, but it's still too long. So every dialogue scene I've written after this movie, if you notice, I keep it short and sweet for just about everything, and then it cuts to something else. Because I kind of follow like that TV show thing. Hey, keep it short, get to the point, and go. Show, don't tell, and move on.
You did have a little... It is a little bit of an
Exhibition?
No.
Oh, I guessed wrong. Damn it, I lost Jeopardy. Actually, I should be laughing about that. Something tragic with that recently, but...
Oh, yes. As we're recording this, I think Alex Trebek
Yeah.
just passed away.
I would think you should.
Exposition.
Oh. Oh, I'm thinking martial arts. Exhibition matches. Yeah,
Right.
excuse me.
This is a bit of an exposition dump.
It is.
But possibly necessary. At least you get all the information out there before we get into the really, really, really action-heavy stuff.
Yeah, I was thinking of... I was thinking more like where I can cut some of this dialogue down when I was putting together the final draft of this film, but there was nothing I could cut out because it was all important. I'm
At
like,
least,
well,
at least you didn't do this like right at the end of the movie. I think I've played a couple video games where right up to the final boss, they're still spewing exposition at you.
oh gosh.
And it's like, if you're giving me exposition this late in the game, you didn't tell the story very good.
I feel like Metal Gear Solid 4 was the only one I was okay with that, because a lot of that cutscenes before the action that you gotta play was actually action related, and it fits so well.
Well, we expect that from Metal Gear Solid
Well,
games.
I guess that too. They prepped us for popcorn.
We understand that Kojima not only makes video games, he makes movies.
Yeah.
And you better be prepared for a lot of complicated plot points.
Oh, definitely.
But we put up with the... I noticed we put up with it from him so well.
A lot of F-bombs in this movie.
You know, in your last one, I think I was the only one who cussed.
In the last one, yes. In this one, I actually...
Which made
did a
me
lot of
want to ask
cursing.
you guys, what was the PG language from all of you for? How come I'm the only one effing like someone's actually gonna get killed?
Unintentionally?
I know, right? Everyone was being such a good boy on set, and I was the only one thinking about it in terms of, hey, I'm getting shot at.
Yeah, and the second one is so much darker than this one ever tried to be. And just wait till the third. Oh man, I can't wait to film that.
I recall you were so upset, maybe not upset per se, but you because this was so long, I think we put in a whole extra action scene on balance just to do it.
That'll be a day.
Perhaps. I like
Well,
this
the one
shot here.
the one behind the one with Zach and Steven, when we shot all that, was
Oh yes.
essentially unnecessary, but I think we did it just to add another fight scene to balance out all the talking.
That was one reason, and the second reason was because there was a certain line in the finale I feel like didn't make any sense at all unless we added a scene before it to make it make sense.
I loved that shirt. I still have it, but it has a shit ton of holes in it.
Yeah, we refrain from using artsy shirts from here on out, but this is the last production we have with such artsy shirts.
Yeah, but you couldn't tell what production company's from that from. Still this minute I couldn't tell you who it was from.
And this is a day where we actually had some more rest and just get off work, right?
No.
Now, this was actually a photography studio I got permission to film in from my friend John Pacino. And he makes good films and everything, and there's actually a space you can always rent out and use, but of course you have to schedule ahead of time. But I had to blur a lot of stuff just to kind of... And I kind of wish I had like some fighting in that hallway or something, but I'm kind of glad I didn't.
Hey, here's where I broke my glasses. You didn't even keep the shot where I did it.
And I wish I had a shot of like one of the extras throwing like a grenade and then the explosion goes off, so it wasn't just right in there. But yeah, lesson learned. Add more B-roll. I'm supposed to be like a bomb in here. We just had to improvise something.
I think we found that box in there, and we're like, all right,
Yeah, we
cool,
did.
this'll work.
Because we had to get the jump on him.
Hey, look, it's you, like 9 times.
Thank you, Mick, for cloning.
I love Zach's overemphasis on certain words.
Now, this scene I wanted to be more like that knife fight scene in Resident Evil 4, but obviously put on a much amateur level and don't get the same feeling in the slightest.
Well, what was actually really neat is all that stuff in the background was already there, and we're like, this is so cool, we should use it.
Everything else in the room didn't work, so we kind of had to film only in that corner.
Well, the corner was weird, but we're like, hey, that's cool.
Broke that knife on the first take.
Yeah, the knife broke right there as it hit the ground, so we had to keep the take. But this whole thing was done on 1 to 2 takes.
Yeah, and this is also a 3-man crew on all these days here. I do like that shot still. I just wish I had a lot more knife clashing shots.
I don't remember
close-ups.
who was the camera person here, but your wife was somewhere in the room when we were in the...
I thought Diego was the camera guy here.
In this one, it might have been.
I can't remember who was holding the camera.
It kind of
here.
had to be. I don't know, man. I can't
I
think
thought
of
it
who
was
else.
Diego because I think she was with my wife at the time, but my wife now, she was at home when we came back. And yes, I did have an obsession on at least getting some blood in the mouth shots or something.
And I picked a great day to wear white. And I did manage not to get a drop of blood on me.
Let his guard down. And this is kind of where you start seeing Fennec go towards like the snapping side. Doesn't quite snap here though.
He thinks he did.
He did fracture his wrist though. See, I even hated that sheet. That damn sheet. Messing up my shots.
Just the way you swat at it like it's irritating.
This was the best take though. So I kept it.
It gives your henchman a little bit of
Personality.
a little personality instead of just being generic.
Okay, yeah, because this time the experimentation wasn't so strong yet, so they're still more or less human. It's the second film where they're just brainwashed completely. They have nothing. But they can still listen and take orders.
In that case, you're dismissed.
You know, a lot more stuff happening off screen. He's just kind of expositioning here. By the way, we failed doing this. He pissed me off. Get the fuck out. Oh yeah, Steven actually hurt his hand here. Coming right up. Watch for this. Not
Right
that. No. Right there. Because he took the backwards hand against like the snow globe. And that's what he hurt his hand on for a day.
At least he kept doing the shot.
And of course, I'm the one holding the camera. This was
Now that you're outside.
This was one of those days where I actually couldn't get a camera guy, so it was only Steven and I. So I had to tripod all the shots and hold the camera for something like this when necessary. But To be fair, we really didn't need a camera guy for what we were doing. And now notice, well, watch this scene closely, guys, or if you've seen it already, notice how the comedic banter's kind of gone down a bit.
Yeah. I got all of them. How does a man have time to...
And thinking back upon this scene, I really wish I took these masks away. We did slightly different dialogue. But it is what it is.
What's funny is you just put on a wrist brace, but I'm wearing one because at the time I'd actually injured my hand at work, and I couldn't take it off.
Mm-hmm.
You have to bring those things in here. They're fucking creepy.
I'm glad we at least make comments to it, so it kind of ties back into what the fuck are they from earlier.
You know, these masks...
So I want to make my character, when I was writing this, more in the gray zone.
Music's good.
I never killed anyone until
Yeah, good composer.
the FMAO incident years ago.
I actually used the same track in the Delightful Vengeance short film when he's talking to the clown.
I want to save humanity.
Well, not the same character, of course, but...
He only wants to see
the ideas for the characters in my earlier films were just kind of write a pun of yourself. Like, write a slight variation, because you can be yourself, right? And that's just kind of how we went from there. And now we're actually developing them to where we have to start, at least in my case, acting differently. Same but different.
Though you never really get to this level again in the other movies.
Yet. But yeah. He's more composed.
Prison for the rest of his life.
Because I don't want to kind of go him in the dark zone. I feel like it was very unnecessary. I can't tell you guys the plot at all for the third, but you'll see where he goes in that time. And we still cracked the joke.
You were so well.
Yeah. Rich was like, yeah, I can't even lighten up the mood.
Now, I remember we actually did this shot specifically because I complained that we did not have the two of them in any shot together because Steven, we had to fly him in.
This is one of the reasons why I wrote this scene in.
If it isn't Fennec secondhand man,
Problem filming with daylight.
Actually, I think that looks great.
Oh no, it's just not being able to get more consistency for later on because it gets dark
No.
too fast between shots. But at least it works. But
what?
I love the personality bounce.
As much as I love seeing the two of you bicker, I really got better things to do. Your talents will be much better on our side, Rick.
and Riker trying to recruit Rich
Chris has told me about your accomplishments.
because they used to be old comrades.
War is over. Oh, it's good to see that you're still living.
I'm obviously the camera guy.
No, I'm not living in the past. I live in the blood of my victims, and day by day,
I think he improv the whole.
He improv that whole thing.
Yeah, that's so good.
Oh, I think you can leave me out of your little art project.
Once again, him and I had a little discussion prior to the shot, but he delivered it
You're not gonna
pretty
join us?
perfectly
You'll
on
be killed by us.
really one take.
Finally, now I can stand up. I told you negotiating wasn't gonna work.
And this is the only scene where they're actually in together.
Way better at getting results.
Don't compare me to that trash. At least we have gotten some things done.
I don't know. I think Chris is.
I'm
The
going to be
old
perfectly
master
honest.
turned into like the supreme leader.
I'd say all you really.
I'm going to be perfectly honest. Chris is my favorite character in this movie. He really is.
Mhm. He definitely feels the most well written for me. And
Which
it's
is
all
funny
just
because he
improv.
wasn't written.
And no camera guy for those shots, so I tripoded it and put it with some zoom in post.
It would have been nice if we could have had a 4-person fight, but Zach was really pressed for time, so
Yeah, so we had to like
we had
change it
to
up.
We had to get the shot quick so he could go, and I think he had to get to work or something.
And he's pulling his punches here. And you can start seeing where the daylight's fading.
At least that was consistent with the fact that the sun was going down in the previous shots.
That's how they make this work for the story. I kind of wish there was more of a fighting, but this scene was actually a few minutes longer, but maybe like a minute or two, but I cut it so drastically, but I think I did it well enough to where no one's going to notice.
What are we doing here, Rich? I don't know. You tell me. Okay. Let me rephrase the question. What are you doing here?
And this was another day completely.
Like an obedient little lapdog.
We actually had a security guard drive up when we were in the middle of filming this part here, and he's like, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" And we're like, "Yeah, college students film something." And he's like,
Just like a
"Well, get out." We're like, "Okay." He leaves. "Okay, guys, let's finish." Because he never came back either. So didn't he say like, "Oh, you better be gone by the time I come back"? We're like, "Okay,
He
whatever."
never came back.
Usually security guards come back when they make that kind of statement. I think they were switching at the guard, you know.
Free of everything. Can you say the same about yourself?
This was also relatively improv.
Of what you could be.
Him and I went off into the corner, I think, away from you for a minute, and him and I kind of talked it over, and this is what we came up with.
Mm-hmm. It really builds upon the relationship between Rich and Gris, which I really enjoy.
You see, we just use honor as a word. That's all it is, to defend our actions as human beings.
So well.
If we just threw away words like honor and dignity and morals, then we would be free. We'd be able to pursue what we can do. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you can free too.
Like it.
Or I could stab you.
I love his dynamic.
There was never any coexisting between us.
Your
Yeah.
wife jumped when I threw my glasses because I threw them towards her.
Oh yeah. And we really have elevated our fight scenes since then. We got to keep this short and sweet because we got to get Rich's Blake's character back to over where Fennec's at.
I want to live the way you're living. Do it. Do it. But I will not kill you as much as you do.
I kind of wish I kind of cut back and forth between those two. Maybe they make a little more sense then, now that I think about it. Oh, because yeah, Fennec was back on his feet then, so that's why I didn't, so. He got back on his feet, and then he threw that last kick, and that's kind of where I took out a lot of the action to cut it down.
I love that punch. To be frank, at this part, I'm amazed you kept this part in. We were screwing around so hard.
The reason for it, I left this part in was because A, it makes sense to leave it in, and B, this is the only time you get to see Rich and Riker fight each other.
This was in one shot, though, because him and I literally were just doing whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There was no thought or choreography. We're just...
It doesn't make any sense to cut it down, though. Like, I think it ruins the scene more.
Well, I thought you were going to make us reshoot it. Because, like I said, there was no...
I tend to keep my mistakes. If I was going to reshoot that, I might as well just reshoot the whole movie, and by then, that's just a waste of effort. Because I think it's enjoyable for
Well, I don't mean reshoot it, but just tell us, hey, guys, do it again.
Oh, you mean the day of?
Yeah.
I was too tired that day. Well, that
because
night.
that was, I think that was the first take.
This was, in 2016, a year later, we flew Steven back in to film this extra scene. And
that was
he
a
was
hell
sick,
of a kick he
and
threw.
I had a fever and stomach flu the entire time we were filming this.
Those were two wonderful kicks he threw.
Mm-hmm. He threw some good kicks for being sick, to be honest. And so, I was in no physical health to really think about how this scene looked in the view of the camera, so I just try to keep everything in camera as best I can. Otherwise, yeah. We did the best we could.
Oh, I like it. The fighting got real dirty during this one.
I think it kind of leads up to the finale well, though, so it works out. And you kind of see where Rich's character was snapping a bit.
Well, it's not a matter of snapping. My character fights dirty the whole time. He's so exhausted from the thing he injected, he's having to fight dirty.
You can see the shadow of the microphone there.
Yeah.
At least the Canon's cameras have good focus.
I actually didn't mean to fall down.
No, well, it worked out really well. And now we're kind of, I wish I had some sort of like really cool transition to put in between there.
Either I'm remembering I'll get to that. I must be remembering something later.
This is that tunnel near that Carl's Jr.
It's across the street on Sparks, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, to this day, I'm still obsessed with this tunnel.
At least Johnny came back and gave you the cameo.
I've been waiting for you.
How?
I wish I wrote some better lines, though.
Come with me. I'll explain everything.
Because here he's wooden, but he gets actual... Like, he sounds like he himself, like, in the next shots. I'm so obsessed with forest scenes. I want to film more stuff in the forest in the future. I just really enjoy. And speaking of the forest right now, I'm actually happy that glitter effect. We did go back and reshoot just this part here, of like the guys in the cloaks, because trust me, the first one was terrible. So I went back and refilmed it, and so that's the only time you'll see Diego is the cloak guy before him, and this is Diego's cousin. Because
he's in one other shot.
Yeah, I keep talking about how there are these people in this space, but I never showed them. So this time around, when we went back and refilmed just this shot here, I made sure to include a couple of them. So now I can just throw these guys on a green screen and just say, "Hey Mick, clone these guys," and then I'll have a ton of them. So something to keep in mind for future projects is green screening. Saves a lot of trouble. And so this is his deceased friend who's still stuck in this world.
Assumed you should have known by now. You've been here before.
Surprised the microphone picked this up so well.
You can definitely hear the water in the background.
Oh yeah, it gets way worse in the next one. And we did take the time to voice over the entire dialogue near the river, but it just felt so unnatural.
You just kept it.
I kept the original audio. Yeah.
This is the space in between worlds, you say. Precisely.
Okay, now you got those plot points.
Here for a reason. I want to tell you something before you left.
I like this. I like the subtlety in Johnny's voice.
Your father was a pitiful man with no morals.
That's the only time his character does have subtlety in his voice. I think about it.
To make it easy for you to understand. Your
And there's
father
a building near my house.
entrusted me with something that I believe you'd find.
Or that gas station parking lot is. It's over there.
I like the sly smile too.
Yeah, any filming location, even though it might seem far off, like maybe like this forest one, it's actually not that far. This was like maybe a 40-minute drive, so we did have to drive a little bit, but... And I did return back to the spot for the next fatal encounter, but only once.
Remember that time I told you
That audio pop was weird too.
I cut the audio there completely in between those two sentences. I think it's because the microphone was popping so bad, it just made more sense to just cut that whole strip of audio. I would like to eventually get like a sound designer kind of do all the mixing and sound work for me. Of course, we record audio way better now than we did at the time of this recording. But yeah, filming your bodies of water I've always had issues with, and this is a very good example of that.
I'm sorry, Josh. It's my fault you were killed.
And this is one of the only times I show my character having regret. He regrets his friend died years ago.
Wasn't that in one of the previous movies you did before this one?
Well, they met each other once before, but he continues to live with this regret, and this is the time he gets that closure. Closure, if I can talk.
I never got the closure you did.
Oh my god, he literally just says it.
Everything's my fault. False guilt.
Need to focus more on the show, don't tell, but you know, you kind of get both. I do get better at that, believe it or not.
I get it. Please, tell me. What do I need to do before you go?
Damn, I think of the moth that flew in front of the camera there, little bastard. Bugs!
Well,
they exist.
Well, it's a forest.
Okay, I was really trying to drill home that they're like two sides of a coin. So they're inside the same space between worlds, but one's during the day and one is at night. So it's kind of time is way different than it is during like in the real world. Whereas a lot of people might think of like this space between worlds as being like only a purgatory, but it's not.
He is a man of many talents.
So think of it like the real Earth, right? So you have a globe, and on one side of the Earth it's day, the other side it's going to be night. Especially if you're going like 180. So I kind of want to bring it the same way here. That's why you have day and night going back and forth. I know Johnny had a lot of hand gestures, but that's how his character was. So
it's within the spirit of things.
Your father was a brilliant scientist.
Hearing a sound, I'm not sure if it's from my movie or from something off, but I'm not too concerned about it right now.
Create a virus that would bring
Thank you, Blake. I found it out.
such a shame that your father was infected with the virus.
Here's another thing that I had to fix in later movies, like George Lucas. Just to give a very slight context, I added
Only the weak take emotions out on the helpless.
some backstory about Riker's father that to this day I wish I didn't, and that's all I'll say.
Any path you follow is a path you must tread on.
Yeah. Can't tell anyone why.
You must train,
Just,
open your mind, get away from all this negativity. And it's only then that
Fun fact, Josh is way taller than me.
No kidding.
And Diego is the shortest of us three. So that's why this angle
That
looks
gives
this way.
that gives it some hella forced perspective, doesn't it?
It really does, yeah.
Like a giant in the shot compared to you.
That's something I didn't actually mention before too. I filmed this entire movie on a camcorder, which I did mention earlier, but it's only because at this time I had no idea how to really switch camera settings, and camcorders just kind of do everything for you. So at the time I thought it was very convenient. Now I'm so happy I moved past this. It's worth learning how to use the camera, guys.
At least it's something I look forward to when I die.
Another fun fact, this is the last time you'll see Josh in any of my work. Not because he probably wouldn't want to, but just as adulting.
Well, promise me something first, Patrick. Yeah? Before you come, I better see that Riker first.
I love this shot.
I can make that happen. Best of luck.
Because he returns back to this rock in the next movie to try to contact his friend again, but that door's shut now. I like how Zach just gets to jump.
I want to thank you. Because guess what? You get a knife, he gets a knife, he gets a knife, everybody gets a knife now.
I love that line.
For a garden while I got you here. Oh, fuck you.
Knee to the temple. I mean, if you need someone hard enough in the head, you can kill them.
Oh yeah.
Quiet, come on.
You can see my camera bag in the back of that shot. If you look well, earlier before it panned over, it's on the right hand side. Now this is like a week later. And the reason why I have the specific date on screen is because I refer back to it later on. Just won't tell you when. And I kind of wish we filmed this more at a slight angle to the left, but my combination on the bags are not that bad. It's actually pretty smooth for how herky-jerky it was as a first degree.
I think the reason we didn't was because of the mirror.
Oh yeah, that's right.
We had a lot of problems with angling in this because the entire back wall is a mirror.
Yeah, you only had to film in a certain direction.
You have some bloopers and behind the scenes footage where we were filming because we weren't worried about where the mirror was, and you can see very much why we were avoiding the mirror in every shot if we could help it.
Now the reason why this whole scene exists, where there's like they're inside the karate school and everything, is because I wanted a final fight in a karate school. No other reason. And so I wrote an entire movie around that one thought. And I had a dream one day of like some guy storming a school I was in, like my school when I was teaching, what I'm a part of, and a black gi wanting to kick my ass. And I turned that idea into this film. And those are carpet mats. Carpet mats are the worst. They tear into your feet. So I feel sorry for anyone who has to really train on carpet mats intensely barefooted.
I've been waiting a long time for this, Mr. Fennec. I bet you have. Leave Rich out of this.
This is also the last time I'll actually be showing my actual karate school uniform. Any gis I wear in the future will be without that kind of embroidery. Because just plain would work much better. But I still love that trim. I want more uniforms with that black trim.
I'm sure you could order something like that.
Mm-hmm. That window. I hate glaring shots now. They're still hard to avoid completely sometimes. But this is one of those days where I wish I had something to cover that window up.
I like it.
I've killed thousands, millions. You don't have
Not millions of students, but just millions of people.
You know,
obviously off screen.
He was. We were having another dialogue struggle day. Hey, it's Diego.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was
That's right. Second time.
That was supposed to turn into a whole thing, and it never did.
Hmm. He just kind of let him outside to be baited.
Oh, Chris.
Filmed us in 2 different days.
Yep.
Hopefully no one noticed.
For sure. What? You can't derail the crazy train. Came off the rails.
I really freaking love the music for this whole scene.
Well, we're building up to the big one.
Hmm. This is the finale.
But once all the leaders reunite, the world will.
Because for the story to make sense, we had to take Rich's, Blake's character out.
If I'm not mistaken, you actually, when we were filming in the school, you never intended this to be a cut back and forth, and I think it was me later saying, well, if you want to make this longer...
Yeah. It was your input that made this a 2-cut scene, and it worked out beautifully.
Well, because I remember you were really upset, because this was the only day we could film in the school, because it was moving.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was we could not reshoot, period. And you weren't happy with the total length of it, because it just wasn't long enough. You felt like the end was really short. If we had just taken this all
You're
by
on the
itself.
ballpark. In the original script here, I had... Like, there was, like, that student character that was supposed to reappear here. And I didn't really have anything planned for Blake's character. And before we started filming the action bit, you gave us the idea to cut it. So we didn't actually have any action between this cut here before it cuts back over to Blake's character. So, but because you gave that idea, we were able to choreograph cutting. Which worked out really well and saved a lot of time and effort. I mean, I got one of Blake's friends hold the camera for this part, because it was one of those days where I just could not get a camera guy.
That's her car.
Yeah, my kick was a bit off there, but still turned out well. I should have made the kick to the ribs, not the head.
Well, my direction in that was for you guys to just keep trying to hit me. You can sort of tell that it began to get a little out of control there.
Yeah. I miss those big blue mats in the back. We've sold them since then. And so there he tried the same thing he did earlier from like the college fight, but obviously he was too far away. He had more of a counter this time.
So right when he hunched over there, Patreck actually did kick him in the groin.
Yes, I did. He punched me in the face, and so he actually got a kick.
I don't think you meant to, but...
Because at this time, when I got hit, my body went in fight or flight response, and obviously it chose fight. Since then, when I've gotten hit, your arm actually got hit there too, by the way.
Because I told you to.
Yeah, ever since filming these scenes, my body isn't going at fight or flight because I know I'm not in actual danger if I get hit.
Yeah, during the pipe, I told you we did 3 takes and you didn't want to hit me with it. And on the 3rd take, I said, "Dude, you really just need to hit me."
And here you can see the exhaustion. I like how when we cut here unintentionally, my character stands up while yours falls down. It's just a great parallel to what's going on. Love it. The mega work for that was great. This is my favorite shots in this part of the school fight. Because this is time where Fennec is just done with Riker's shit.
I like the fake out there.
Yeah.
I'm done. No, I'm not. That's also really good. His kick and your flip was good.
Those are my favorite cut where he's about to jump on his face and cuts to Rich getting kicked in the car door. And
the whole reason I had that shot is I joked so many times I should have got, like, that tie should have been a liability during a fight, and it was the only time it came up.
It definitely became a liability.
Yeah, for the henchman.
Mm-hmm. Turned it around. But Chris wasn't done yet.
And see, there's where the turning your back on the guy thing became a thing.
Mm-hmm.
That fall hurt so bad.
I think we did at least in one shot.
We did it in 3.
Oh, damn.
And it hurt. Well, no, there was... I forget why, but...
Well, you're falling on pavement.
Hard, too. I didn't pad that fall.
You down there. You know, there's a lot of things I'm really bad at. Staying quiet during meetings. Water polo. Garden.
Brings up the Guardian again.
At least he worked a theme.
He did. It's so well done.
You always did talk too much.
And this is one of those areas where we found the most quiet spot in the parking lot and just filmed it, and we were really lucky that no one bothered us.
Right in the middle of the day.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 2 in the afternoon.
I was expecting police to come by at some point. I'm really happy we didn't get bothered.
We were kind of it was a weekend because everyone in the buildings nearby weren't.
I think it was like a Sunday or something.
Yeah, it was.
And now he's just done with his shit.
The fall he takes here is...
I really want to do that throw in a movie so bad, so I had to throw it in here. Save it for the finale, you know?
That still didn't kill you, Chris.
And even though Chris totally could just go up there and finish him off, that hit in the head, and the fact that he spared him, gives him a change of heart that we wanted to continue later on, but just never had the opportunity. So that opportunity turned into Mick's character. I love this part. He's just so pissed off at him. So there was a theme there I just never could really show on camera, but show what I could. Fun fact, I had super old sound effects the entire movie, so I put sound effects in with the entire movie with my old ones, and then when I actually bought professional ones, I had to go back and redo all the sound effects.
You actually can't see it. He did something during this that would have been good, but I think the cinema bars just cut off what he was doing.
Originally there was a vignette, and then I color graded the entire thing differently to have cinema bars instead. You can see the hand there a little bit, but yeah, not as much as you used to. Yeah, they all got back together for that park. At least I got Allison with a different change of clothes, and you know it's still the same wall, you know. But yeah, you use what you get. You got.
Don't you people ever go home?
Right.
What are all of as an outtake? What are all you people doing in this park? Now, remember we did this. It was supposed to be ambiguous whether I survived or not.
Yeah, I filmed in 2 different days, so we had to kind of leave your ending kind of open-ended so we can film.
Well, you weren't sure whether I was going to survive into the next movie or not, so you left it. I could have been dead there, or I could have been alive.
Mm-hmm. And fun fact, the second movie came out before the first, just because of I had so many issues doing this one.
I had to really shut up during this part because watching him get dragged across the floor was kind of unintentionally hilarious.
Yeah, his gi actually came up since it was untucked now, and he got some pretty bad rug burn on his back for that shot.
It was just watching you drag him away. I'm sitting there trying not to laugh because it was kind of funny.
A very good reason as to why his body gets dragged away for later on. But at that time, I didn't know why I wanted that reason, so I just had to make a reason.
I am presumed dead.
Sacrifice for a greater cause has caused many deaths. The death count is over 1 million.
I think this is all improv too. Allison does a good job. Because what I had written just was... So her improv was way better than what I had written.
We are being told by police that they are still looking for Riker, the leader of the SGC.
And the music just knocks it out of the park.
His last scene,
I am very...
It's a good background. Who did the effect at the bottom?
Actually, this was a free effect that Matrix found when he was doing these news feeds.
Did we not have Matrix at any point in this movie?
Followers of Riker to go into hiding.
You mean like credit, or as far as...
Was he involved in this one in any real way? I don't think
only
he was.
in post. Yeah, he helped me with some of the visual effects, and then Mick helped me finish the rest of them.
For all of us citizens, you are advised.
Thank goodness for friends who can kind of take some of the load off your shoulders.
Not to drink the current water supply.
I love editing, but I never want to do every part of editing again, and this movie was that mistake.
Yeah, learn
Short
something,
films are good, but any big projects, no, you're just better off paying somebody. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, you can do it all on your own, which is good practice, but be prepared to work on that same film for 4 or 5 years in post-production, depending on what you're trying to do. Because it's extensive and mentally exhausting.
Patrick, it's good to see you still alive.
Fun fact, I only had like 2 or 3 hours of sleep here. So my character's exhausted, but I'm also exhausted.
Even better.
because we had to fly Steven back that, oh, I know why I'm so tired. We did all the voiceovers after that final fight scene in the school, and we were up to like 2 in the morning or 3 doing all the voiceovers. So by the time we went to bed, we had to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning to meet Brian for this ending scene where Brian's character takes mine away into hiding. And then we had to get Steven back to the airport by like 9 o'clock in the morning or something. So we had to film this really quick. And of course this tripoded. And then we went up to the forest there, like just the beginning to film something. And then we flew and took him off to the airport. Oh, thank goodness it was my day off, because I literally just went back home and slept. And then he slept on the plane ride back.
Brian's character here was in other movies too, but he was only really available for this last part, so he didn't really figure into the plot this time. But he was a fairly major player on the previous one, wasn't he?
And he was supposed to have a bigger role in the following one, because I want to bring him back, but I ended up turning that into a different character completely. And
he just flat declined.
Just too busy. So, more or less declined, but he's a busy guy, and my childhood friends helped me get off the ground so much right like in the beginning that it makes sense as to why, as production values started to increase, that they didn't want to be much part of it.
You've known him like 20 plus years, haven't you?
22 years at the time of this recording. My Aunt Fenner brings up like, hey, you know, all the crap I put up with, I only took off the bottom of the food chain. And he's depressed by that fact. At the time, I only wanted like 3 commanders. And then when we were making Rise and Fall, I'm like, no, I at least need a few more than that. And that's why there like a hierarchy got built. Oh yeah, I did have like a cut on my nose after I scratched my nose because of the makeup, the little blood you put on there before, and so I put a band-aid on it before I went out and filmed for this day. And I think that's like one of the only times I've ever had a band-aid on my nose, like ever in my life. Just a weird thought. Fingers, on the other hand, oh, don't get me started.
Got a little bit of a drive, but
and all this is improv too. And obviously we couldn't just refilm improv many times easily with no camera guy or multiple cameras, so that's why there's just
plus
one
you're
shot.
trying to hurry up, you said.
You
can
and
see
I love this
dragging your
music.
feet a little bit.
And that is the first Fatal Encounter. Another fun fact, I used the same exact ending song for the second Fatal Encounter because it just matches so perfectly.
It's now kind of your series theme, is it?
There's gonna be a new credit song for the third one, but it had to remain this type of theme just to fit into the next one. Because we want to make this a trilogy, and we're 2 out of 3 there. Yep, a lot of extras.
Riker's I don't know.
I guess I can give you guys the answer to that finally. Basically, Riker had a twin in the story, and I didn't really give context on it to leave it as a mystery, but Riker's twin ended up being part of that human experimentation. So that's why he was way different than Riker was. That was a nod to my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, because we were dating more privately, or not many people knew.
Boy, that was privately.
That's as much context as I can give it. So this is that scene I was talking about earlier that we filmed right after the conversation with Brian's character up in the forest. Because I wanted to have like a really good cliffhanger after the credits. And this was like the easiest, the closest part of the forest to my house with like the trail and everything. And so he stops for a reason. And since I didn't know who was going to play this character until later on, we had to kind of leave it pretty pretty bland as much as possible.
Actually, I'm the second in command.
Although I do wish I did a better job covering up skin and everything.
And what do you want?
Also like the back of the head, I wish I covered up too, but nah, it is what it is. And thankfully I had the second movie done, so I actually had a title to be continued in. And that was the first Fatal Encounter movie.
We did it.
Oh, it was a nightmare to get done, but it was a lot of fun.
That's what you get for taking on all the editing by yourself.
Never again. It's worth paying other people to help out with that, even if you're just buying them lunch or something, depending on the scale.
Well, thank you for taking this journey with us.
And we'll see you next time. Have a good one.